Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful and honestly kind of a rebellious idea, especially in a world that's obsessed with the hustle. It's called the growth paradox, and it's all about how easing your grip might just be the key to unlocking your absolute best work. So let's just jump right in with a huge question. We're all told to push harder, right? Grind longer, never give up. But what if all that constant, desperate effort, what if that's the very thing creating the friction, the resistance, that's actually stopping you from moving forward? To really get this, we first need to talk about a place so many of us get stuck. I call it the effort trap. And it's this really nasty, vicious cycle of just trying too hard. I mean, think about it. From the time we're kids, it's drilled into us. More hours, more sweat, more sacrifice, that's what equals success. The message is simple and it is everywhere. If you're not getting what you want, you're just not trying hard enough, period. But what's the actual result of living like that? Seriously, does any of this sound familiar? That constant, low-humming stress in the background? The pure exhaustion of putting in more and more effort for smaller and smaller gains? And that frustration that just builds until you hit total burnout? And maybe worst of all, that sinking feeling of being completely and utterly stuck. This isn't growth, it's a grind to a halt. And this is a perfect way to see that internal battle we all face. You've got the hustle mindset on one side, which is totally fixated on the outcome, absolutely terrified of failure, and trying to white-knuckle its way to a result. But then, on the other side, you see this different approach, the growth mindset. It's all about the process. It accepts that setbacks will happen, and it allows results to emerge naturally instead of trying to force them. And that brings us to the core idea here. If the effort trap is the problem, then the growth paradox is the answer. It's all about tapping into the incredible power of letting go. So here it is, the big idea. The growth paradox is this wild, counterintuitive principle that says your best work, your fastest growth, it often happens when you stop obsessing over the finish line. It's not about trying less. It's about trying with less desperation, with less attachment to how it all has to turn out. So why on earth does this work? Well, when you are fixated on one specific outcome, your brain is just consumed by anxiety and fear. You're tight, you're rigid. But the moment you release that desperate need, you free up this incredible amount of mental energy. You suddenly become more present, more creative, and way more capable of getting into that state of flow we're all chasing. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Your rigid, desperate attachment to a specific result is the storm. It's the very force that can break you. Real strength and real growth comes from being flexible, from being able to bend with the process instead of fighting it. Now, this might sound like some trendy new productivity hack you'd see online, but the truth is, this is an incredibly old and profound piece of wisdom, and it's perfectly suited for our modern high-pressure world. Yeah, we're going way back. We're talking about Stoicism. The ancient Greek and Roman philosophers, these guys were masters of resilience. They understood this paradox perfectly. In fact, you could say they built their entire philosophy around this very idea. Just listen to this from the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. He's literally giving us the instruction manual. Separate what you can control, your effort, your choices, your actions, from what you can't control, which is basically everything else. The final outcome, what other people think, luck. Your peace of mind and your peak performance, they live in that separation. So what did that actually look like for them? Well, first, you focus on doing the work and doing it well, and you let that be its own reward. Second, you start to see challenges, not as roadblocks, but as training, opportunities to get stronger. And maybe most important of all, you anchor your self-worth in who you are, in your character, not just in what you accomplish. Okay, that's enough philosophy. Let's get really practical. How can you actually use this idea in your day-to-day life? How do we put this whole effortless action thing into practice? It really breaks down into 3 simple but not easy steps. First, get crystal clear on your process. What are the specific actions that are 100% in your control? Second, when you're doing the work, be fully there. Pour all of your focus into the task in front of you, not the daydream of the reward. And finally, and this is the hardest part, once you've done your part, you have to let it go. You have to surrender the outcome. And I really want to hammer this point home. Surrendering the outcome does not mean you don't care. It is the exact opposite. It's a profound act of trust. It's having the confidence to say, look, I prepared meticulously, I executed with total focus, and now I trust that process to deliver whatever it's going to deliver. That's the whole ballgame, right there. The goal is to shift your energy from a state of forcing, of trying to bend the world to your will, to a state of flowing, where you're moving with clarity and power through the things you can actually control. So I'll leave you with something to think about. In your career, maybe in a relationship or some personal project you're working on, where are you gripping so tightly that you're actually choking off the very growth you want? Where in your life could you achieve so much more just by letting go?